The first thing I want to say about this tune, Waterfalling, is the tuning. To begin with, you'll notice that I'm using a capo here, but it's only a partial capo in that it's just clamping the lower 5 strings and not the top string. So your top string is open effectively. These strings on the 2nd fret are capoed. Now the way I've written out the transcription is to give you the most flexibility here, because you could play the tab by tuning your guitar to dad-gak, which means lowering the top string to C, or you could even adopt an open tuning of E, B, E, A, B, D, which would mean that everything in the tab is perfectly straightforward, or you could do this capo business here. It means that all the capoed notes in the transcription are a 0. Now, I've done a little bit of research on this, and to be honest, there is no easy way of transcribing for partial capos. And so what I've done is I've just tried to give you as much flexibility as I possibly can, and I'll try and point out exactly why I've done this, why I've used a partial capo in the rest of the video. One of the things about this tune is that I wanted to simulate the movement of water as much as I could, and so I wanted all the arpeggios in the tune to have as many open ringing strings as possible, hence the use of the partial capo. It might make the tab look a little confusing sometimes because you're actually playing open string on the top and you're playing a fretted note on the 2nd string, but you're not playing them in that order in the music. It takes a little bit to get used to, but I'll try and show you what I mean in the first 3 bars of the tune. I'll play through it again really slowly so you can see what my right hand is up to. Another thing I've tried to do to make things sound as smooth as possible is I'm using a lot of hammers and pulls wherever I can to make those chords really all sound together. I'll show you what I mean. For instance, here I'm only plucking the string once before I go over the rest of the chord using another hammer on the 2nd string. So you've got... And that way you get all those strings ringing nicely together, and when you come down it's even more effective. So the thing to aim to do is not mute those strings. If it's at all possible, get those chords ringing into each other and sustaining for as long as you can to give you that sort of watery feel. Another point in the music where it's important to let as many notes ring as you possibly can is in bar 26. Here, again, we want that sort of watery, sustainy feel. It's almost like you've got drone strings on a sitar or something like that. I'll show you what I mean in close-up. The next point I want to raise is in bar 46. This is a sequence which probably sounds an awful lot more difficult to play than it is. What's happening here is that you're in sequence with the right hand. The right hand fingering doesn't change for this particular passage at all. And with the left hand, all that's happening is you're taking one finger off the fretboard at a time to get this run down, which again is meant to be like a waterfall or something like that. I'll show you in close-up. The only other thing I want to mention is bar 49, which you'll see is 1 bar of 1/4. Now, there are loads of ways I could have transcribed this, but I elected for the simplest, the easiest. And the reason why it's there is because after you've played that little cascading sequence that we just looked at, I wanted it to go straight back into that first scale that you find at the beginning. I didn't want there to be an extra beat there. So really it's just closing the gap musically. So it's nothing to worry about. Listen to the rhythm on the recording and you should be able to get it from that. There should be no problem. So that's waterfalling effectively. Once again, work through it in small chunks. Don't try doing too much at once. And if you run into any problems, I'm on hand via my website. I'll try and give you as much guidance as I can.